Welcome to America's Heroes Group.
Good afternoon and welcome to America's Heroes Group Roundtable Community Outreach. July is American Diabetes and National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. It's Saturday, July 23rd, 2022. I am Vietnam veteran co-founder and host, Cliff Kelley.
Hey, and I'm his co-host. I am honored to be that. Anytime I see Cliff Kelley in the studio, it's a good day for me. And I'm Dr. Damon Arnold, retired colonel from the U.S. Army. Also, our executive producer is Glenda Smith, and our digital media producer is Ivan Ortega of Scouts Honor Productions, the great Ivan Ortega. Also, I want us to join us as America's Heroes Group as we are now live on Facebook and YouTube. So join us, be with us. Our panelist today is the esteemed Danny K. Davis, congressional member of the 7th Congressional District. He is honorable, and we are lucky to have him as one of the people that supports our communities. And he is America's Heroes Group Advisory Board member as well. Congressman Davis today has many things he can talk about. He is a brilliant man, but today he's going to talk about the 7th Congressional District updates. How are you doing, Congressman Davis?
Well, let me tell you, it is so good to hear both of you esteemed gentlemen, retired veterans, individuals who have served their countries and continue to serve. I am just delighted. I'm excited. I'm elated. Although I must confess that I'm mourning a little bit because the 7th District lost one of its most celebrated residents in the person of James Cole, better known as Shine King, the king of shoe shining in Chicago. And I tell you, some of the people who spoke had such eloquent ways of describing this gentleman. Of course, you know he was a millionaire, owned many businesses, and so does his family. His sons own businesses. As a matter of fact, I have used their businesses for everything from getting my shoes shined to buying silk socks when I was a young person. My wife used to go in there and surprise me with some silk socks or nylon socks or whatever. She don't do that no more.
Say no more.
No, that's history.
I got you.
But this guy started his business, Cliff, as you know, walking up and down Madison Street,
right,
shining shoes with a shoe shine kit. And he rose to prominence. The guy, he started in a barber shop that I used to get my hair cut. So did Willie Wilson. That's where I met Dr. Wilson. And the barbers would get jealous because he was making more money shining shoes than they would be making cutting hair. So he had to go out and get his own place, and it just skyrocketed. I used to be on the board of trustees of the Austin Bank. I was on the board for 10 years. Matter of fact, I only resigned from the board when I got elected to Congress because I wouldn't be able to go to the meetings and that kind of thing.
Yes.
And of course, he was one of the part owners of the bank also.
Boy.
And of course, real estate. He had a roofing company. His son is an electrician, and he was just passionate. He was a classmate of Don Jackson. They all went to Marshall High School, won championships and stuff like that. But the community said goodbye to him today. Jam-packed, the biggest facility in the community, the JLM Center. And then they had a motorcade that went from all the places where he had been. So, it was a great celebration. Just outpouring. Look, presidents have been in there. I've taken people running for president into Shan King and Lake and Kedley. I've taken mayors, governors, everybody come campaigning on the west side of Chicago. We'd always bring them to Shan King. They'd have to come through and get their shoes shined. Bill Clinton has been up there sitting in the seat and stuff. So he was just celebrated.
Yeah,
so
but
to his family.
Yeah, but America's Heroes Group, extends our condolences to him. It sounds like you're describing a self-made business icon that that many of our young people need to be listening to and looking at, and studying their life to to figure out what they need to do in life. And I am so proud of the story you just told, Congressman Davis, and you just taught me something new too. So it's not just the stomach to a man's heart; it's their feet too, because those silk socks sound like they were really important.
Well, let me tell you, you felt like a king when you were. Isaiah Thomas shined shoes in there. As a matter of fact, he introduced me to the Thomas family, to Isaiah Thomas, the famed basketball player, now businessman. And his brother Mark was a policeman. And Mark used to drive me around when I was in the city council. And we had bodyguards sometimes if folks was messing with you. And so Cliff remember those days. And, you sometimes had to have a bodyguard and stuff, all that.
Yeah, Cliff's eyes lit up when you said that.
Well, things, as bad as they sometimes look, things are still looking good and up.
Sure.
I want to thank the people who voted for me and gave me another opportunity to get a scoop of public service.
And
I don't think there's anything in the world more important than public service.
You're deserving of it.
You,
You're deserving. I had to interrupt you for a moment. You're deserving of it. You've done so much for so many as an elected official. I just think it's just great that you continue to be there, and I hope you will be there many more years.
Yeah.
But we're so fortunate. The people have been so engaged, so involved, so actually just they make you want to wake up and get started and go off and do something every day. And Cole taught his sons. One of them is my electrician. I've used all their businesses at different times. So things are pretty good. They're looking up.
That's
One
great.
disappointment, though, in terms of the 7th District and other districts, is that the voting turnout in Chicago was dismal.
Really?
Especially in the African-American community. I can't miss saying that because, only about 20% of the people voted.
Wow.
That's 2 out of 10.
That's terrible.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yes.
And we can't survive doing that. We got to do better. We got to make sure we do better in every election. If it ain't nothing but the election for Block Club president. And
No, you're right.
you got to do better than that. So my
Congressman,
little comment.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
No, I was going to say that my little comment, my message, we're coming up to the midterm elections in November.
Right.
Yes.
And the Republicans think they're going to take the House back. They think they're going to take the Senate. And although in places like Illinois, we're generally relatively safe, but we can't go to sleep. We got to make sure people come out and vote. And I'm not being selfish, except that I'm selfish in the context of wanting Democrats to win.
Well,
I don't make any bones about that.
One thing I know for sure, you have certainly done and continue to do the wonderful things you do for not only the people in the community, but everybody. I've been over to too many of your events to not recognize the things that you do, Congressman, because you just do a great job.
You know, and Congressman, Congress Davis, I wanted to make one point about something you was talking about with the voting. And I was in a discussion with some people. It was with the American Association of Public Health Physicians. And one of the comments I made is that many of the people who voted in the Republican states, like for Texas and, other states where you have predominance of voting Republicans, is that the women who voted there actually put someone in office who took away their civil right, that took away their right to an abortion. Now, some people are pro-abortion, against abortion. It's an individual woman's choice, and there should be no legal interposition between a provider, a treating physician, and their patient. And in this particular situation, I think that people have to realize it became down to the vote. It was the vote. If they had voted, we may not even have had this issue. We may not have had the Supreme Court stacked. We may not have had the federal court stacked if we had just voted. And when you were saying 2 out of 10 voting, that is just sinful. You need to get up and vote if you are a citizen in this country. I was a veteran. I saw people die on the battlefield who were fighting for your right to be a voter. And all you can do, you can't take 5 seconds to go and vote.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the right to choose. I am always proud of the fact that it was Ruth Rothstein and I who started the first teen health clinic in the high schools in Chicago. And of course, that involved teaching kids sex education and about contraception and all of those things that go along with making health decisions. We started the PATH Clinic at the Austin High School, and Ruth Rothstein and I were the two main promoters of getting that started in the Austin community. And we also started a fellow named Ernie Jenkins and I. We were very instrumental in an ounce of prevention and getting people to accept the ounce of prevention in the community where we were working with, again, Ruth Rothstein and Miss Weisbord, who really got that moving in Illinois. So I agree with you that the ability to make private decisions about your own health and what you do certainly should be available to each and every person in this country. And some of these states, people, they vote for individuals who deny them the opportunity to make their private decisions. So we got to keep working, got to keep doing it. And, hey, it's just always a pleasure to hear. There's something about being a gentleman. I mean, I like to call people gentlemen who are. And so both of you are indeed. You've given so much. You've done so much. You make anybody proud to know you, proud to know what you do and what you stand for. And so, hey, it's always good just to turn on the radio Here, America's heroes.
Well,
That's
Congressman,
two of them.
that's well, that's very nice. That's reciprocal. But I know you, and we have done a whole lot of things together, and helped each other, and I'm sure we will continue to do that. But you've done a great job, and I'm so happy to say that I am a friend of Congressman Danny K. Davis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you all and Glenda Smith, and let me tell you, people, I like the idea that I can say something positive, say something good, something meaningful about people. I take delight in doing that. And Chicago has had so many outstanding people, black people, all kinds of, but black people who have done so much. We got to kick up the history books, and we got to make sure that our young people know this. And I think part of the riff of what I hear as the disenchantment or the distance between people of different ages is that we are not teaching our young people enough to have a better awareness and understanding of what it used to be like before people did a lot of stuff to change it. And I don't think they're being taught enough of that. I am so proud of the work and stuff that my mother and father did. I looked up, I'm in my office, and there's a picture of my father on the wall. In the other room, there's a picture of my mama on the wall. And if it hadn't been for the stuff that they did, I wouldn't be whatever it is that I am today.
Yes.
So I have great appreciation. And I know the people that you grew up around, Cliff. I know the people who lived in your neighborhood, the people who were on your block, and the outstanding individuals who were part of that era and made the South Side of Chicago one of the premier black communities in America. Oscar DePriest, the first black guy to go to Congress after Reconstruction, right off the South Side of Chicago. Bill Dawson, who became one of the great congressmen who patronage was big time back then. And Bill Dawson and Adam Clayton Powell were the two black congressmen.
That's right.
Each one of them powerful, and they all right. Dawson, you kind of had to go see him if you want to get a government job.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you had to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And people worked the post office, and blacks became middle class with all of these opportunities that were being created. But, we'll get back to the glory days of voting, and we just got to make it happen.
Well, don't forget, Congressman, you've done a great job, and you continue to. But I've been in your office enough to know those wonderful people you were talking about who have pictures in the different rooms in your headquarters there on the west side. You know who I'm talking about. You just mentioned it.
Oh, yeah. Well, we always call it the best side. Don Jackson was at this funeral, and he was talking about how he came through Marshall High School and that he had his business in Loop and Cole had his business out on the west side, but they were all part of the same team that came out of Marshall High School, and that the west side was still the best side. It wasn't a sad kind of funeral. It was a different kind, but not a sad kind. So, gentlemen, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
It's my pleasure. And, I met with the guys over at the Jesse Brown a few days ago. Wonderful conversation. They've got a good manager over there, and they are eager to keep doing some stuff and do some stuff. And it's about time we pay them another visit.
Sounds
Yes, sir.
great.
Congressman Davis, you were talking a lot about, the youth and how, I think our youth are being miseducated because we, the big names, that are out there, historically, but you don't know the culture within your own community. That the youth are not being exposed to all the things that you were talking about all the successful business people around them. I was speaking to one young man because I've been talking to these young people, and he, after we finished the discussion, he said, "Wow," he said, "I'm so glad I talked to you. I didn't know an old man knew so much." And I said, I didn't know a young man could recognize it. So we started laughing, and we started talking about it. But what is it that we have a couple of minutes to go. What would you say to the youth and the people who are, my age, or people who are in, anywhere along this spectrum within the community? What should we be doing to talk to each other to make sure that people understand how unique and skilled and our abilities that we've built? How do we get that across to them that there's another path other than this violent stuff that's going on, other than looking at life and saying that life is not worth anything because I know that I can't do anything in this culture, in this community? What can we do to turn that opinion around?
My folks and the folks who came along at that time who taught us stuff used to always tell us, never look down unless you're trying to help somebody else up.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that.
they say, yeah, just if you did that, you would realize how much fun life can be. And we talked a great deal about second chances today because Cole often hired guys who would come right out of the penitentiary and jail and that kind of thing and put them to work shining shoes, and they'd be making sometimes $300, $400, $500 a week because he taught them to be the best. I mean, his whole motto was, if you're going to be a shoe shiner, you got to be the king. So, you're the king of the shine. And that's what he taught. And I knew kids who would be making $500-$600 a week shining shoes when there was a big population and lots of movement. And of course, that was as much as people were making working in factories and doing other kinds of things and teaching school or whatever they did. So just help somebody.
Yes.
And if you do that, I think life just becomes so much better. So that would be
I see why you're a congressman, because why you're keeping that seat. And, I was going to congratulate you, but what I have to do is really congratulate the Illinois 7th Congressional District on being able to retain you as their leader, because, they, and when I go to those things, Cliff was talking about going to some of your meetings and all that, but when I go there, I see the fire in everyone's eyes when you speak and when you're what you have done for that community, that you can tell that the people have benefited and they love this.
Yeah.
So we just ran out of time. Glenda's waving me in. So,
Well,
you know what
thank
happens
you
with that
both,
one.
and thank you to Glenda. We know it's time to go, so right on. I'll be listening the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Congressman.
Congressman.
Thank you.
And stay with us, stay with us. We're at America's Heroes Group. Is going to a commercial break, and we'll be right back with the governor of talk radio and Cliff Kelley, who is going to be in the next session as well.